Hi guys. The purpose of this video is to give you an idea about what grief and loss is like between two neurodiverse people. Now, obviously, relationships are going to be different between this person and this person. Everyone has a different connection, right? So, my story of this relationship has a background of I have known him since first grade. So I've basically known Tyler my whole life. He's the kind of person that was just, there was nothing negative about him. He was just always kind. He was always selfless. He always wanted the world to be a better place. And he did something about his impact on it. He made sure he left an impact. Not intentional, like he wasn't, he did it very quietly. But a lot of times the quiet voices reach the furthest and mean the most. So, I've known him my whole life. We did a lot of things together. We were both in band. We were both in track. We were both in the same classes, basically. Sorry. Go GBA. And his dad was a teacher at the school. So we all knew his dad, we knew his mom, we knew his sister. So he's been one of the lifers at LCS. That's where we went. And I was one of the only ones who was also a lifer there. The way a neurodiverse person works is, it's not about intimacy. It's about understanding. It's about being allowed to be allowed, to have permission to just be. The spiritual connection is crazy cool. It's very strong. So when you obviously, we're alive. I am not this. I am not this body. No. I am Cammie. But I'm not this human body. I am a spirit. I am a soul. I am more than just a person. And that's what neurodiverse people know and understand. That's one reason quite a few of them take their lives, because they're sick and tired of being part of this screwed up world. They know there's more than that. They're connected to spirituality a lot more than people who are not neurodiverse. Neurotypical people, normally wired people. And society is built by normally wired people, so it's very, very hard. We have to figure out how to live in it. And sometimes it gets to a point where it's like, you know what, I don't want to live in this anymore. My body's falling apart. I'm getting tired of this body. I'm getting tired of, a lot of neurotypical people will have mental health issues. I do. He did. It's very hard to live a neurodiverse life. So, now that I've given you a 6-minute intro, let me read some of the stuff to you that I have written about my grief experience of losing this amazing being in the physical world. Side note, a lot of how we write as neurodiverse people can sound very poetic, for lack of a better word, but the thing about it is it's very raw, it's very deep, and it's not meant to be taken literally by other people. The idea of it is kind of like when you're in a musical, when you're watching a musical, and there's the play, blah, 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 and all of a sudden they start singing. The song isn't actually part of the story. The song is how that person is interpreting their thoughts and their dreams out loud. So, I think that's actually a really great way to describe how neurodiverse people speak and express themselves. We are actors in a play, actors in a story, but when we write, when we communicate, our best way to communicate is to start singing. And that might include quotes from other people, that might include other song lyrics, because those are ways that we grasp. Echolalia is a huge way of how we grasp thoughts and feelings, because it's very hard for us to put our own words into actual physical words. So think of it that way. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna start off with my original response, I guess. This is the morning that I found out that he took his life. And I'm going to use my friend instead of his name out of respect for the family. So here we go. He's gone. My friend is gone. He took his own life last night. I'm sobbing. I'll never get to say anything to him or write to him again or read anything new he writes, at least this side of life. My physical senses will never get to touch or experience his again. The love of a deep, lifelong friendship is gone. We barely ever even spoke, but the emotional underlying understanding was so pure and a strength that I can't figure out the word for. It was a connection I don't think a lot of humanity can understand. I will forever miss the voice he had that reverberated through the keys his fingers touched, and the gentle giant eyes that sparkled through his smile. We knew each other without even knowing each other. This is the joy and sorrow of a neurodiverse life. The storms hit harder, and the joy sparkles louder. But can we live that way? On this earth, we are the quiet beacons. Okay. My insides feel off and abnormal. I don't know what to write or what to read. With the letters and the messaging, it felt like we were finally getting to have the friendship we had wanted growing up in school. Actually getting to know each other as unique, real individuals. I think that's what hurts most. And that he was always so genuine and kind. He was the kind of person that just made you stop and watch and feel like someone was actually there and they cared. no matter who you were or how your day was going. You always mattered. I'll never see him or hear from him past this date on the calendar, contemplating what life looks like with him not in it. It's like one of the seeds on the dandelion of my life has floated away. I think I'll take a nap and then work on the photo project. I feel heavy and void. And then I made a list of things I knew about him, things I know about him. This is how I feel the definition of grief. Sadness, hard to swallow, no energy, crying, muscle tremors, shaking, headaches, I don't want to eat, not knowing what to eat. I know I'm not the only one you touched. I know I'm not the only one you cared for and cared about you. I know I'm not the only one who misses you. But my life is my experience, not theirs. And my experience with and without you is a harsh reality. Because you were amazing. You were a blessing. You touched my life with intrinsic gentleness and understanding. You shared and you cared when nobody else really knew or wanted to. So my experience is very real. Screw being valid. We lived deeply because of each other. And that, sir, is a treasure. As I look back at what I write, some may think I was in love with you, but that's untrue. I loved you, yes, but as a kindred spirit. I loved your soul. I loved the connection we had that nobody else dared come close to. Because learning and accepting the depth of the human soul is a deep dive not many dare to think is possible. But you took it, and you lived in it, and you held my heart's hand. And that, dear old friend, is why I loved you. Even though it wasn't the way to go, it's good that his body is at rest, and his mind is no longer haunted. His smile is now relaxed and peaceful, not forced and painful. No more ghosts behind and beneath. This is how I defined his memorial. It's a full house, and you're the center of attention, which you've never wanted. But here we are, talking about you. Tears roll, frogs stick while people try to clear their throats. Walking through doorways, there are faces and smells, but you can only be found behind glass and printed on paper. This is when I went to say goodbye at his grave. I went to sit beside you and felt the void where you would be. You chose to be near me from the other side of the ground. I can't see you, and it's strange and unreal. I knew I couldn't stay long beneath the tulip tree. Responsibilities beckoned to me. It felt awkward to have to decide when to walk away, when my body needed me to sob and let my emotions pour out in streams and gasps to echo my sorrow. Also, I didn't have tissues. As I lifted from the ground, I couldn't help the awkward sadness of impending separation. Each step towards leaving felt unfair and tedious. I reached out to offer my hand as a parting gift, but retracted it quickly, feeling the internal battle against empty air. Your hand couldn't touch mine, so my extension was at a loss. As my feet carried me away from your grave, I felt the need to keep looking back. Even now, in reflection, I want to scream unfair into the sunlit air and fall into a pile of tears in the grass. Not sure how that pile would happen, since tears would split like rain and become dried up in the dirt. But my crumpled self could easily become an invisible body, invisible clothes. Don't look at me. My face will be poofy with sadness, for who knows how long, but if my spirit can touch yours, let it be. Please let it be. I took a flower from the tulip tree. I pray that the seed can be my reassurance of strength and grace, of affection, of living a life with no more newness of your face. When I said goodbye, the word became foreign and lifeless in the sunlight. It didn't seem right. I know now that it's a farce in our existence, because goodbye is a dirty and pointless word between lifelong friends, when life and spirit leads to freedom on the other side. Goodbye is a word banned from the mouth we speak. From there is no permanent goodbye between friends, between kindred spirits, in life or death. Merely sorrow for the voice that can no longer echo in the ears, though the voice that echoes in the soul remains. Well, like I said, it's very much like listening to a musical. A lot of neurodiverse people are very deep and thoughtful and very misunderstood. That is the relationship between two lifelong neurodiverse friends. I'll talk to you later. Bye. A little side note about how to be a friend, be a family member, be someone in the life of that person who's grieving. It's great to ask how they're doing. The hard part is us being able to put that into words, especially in a way to communicate. Because for one, communication is really hard for us. That's one of the main things about being neurodiverse. Communication, socializing, very, very hard. But yes, asking us how we're doing is great. Especially if you actually want to hear really how we're doing. Another part of that is when we tell you how we're doing, try not to ask us to explain it. Because if we say something you don't understand, that's okay. You don't have to understand it. You just have to listen and let us know that it's okay. It's okay for us to say things they don't get. You don't get. But it's a huge deal for us to know that you care and that we're able to process through our grief with someone. Because grieving while you're alone or lonely is hard enough without someone to care and ask and be there. So, okay.